Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. So some stories just coming in from Imo State in Owerri, in Imo State, where an interim injunction has been filed to stop an order of interim injunction from the Federal High Court in Owerri aimed at stopping the Imo State Congress tomorrow. It's a state congress. It is said that injunction may have been filed by the Okorocha faction of the party, asking the court to stop the congress from going on because of the controversies trailing the ward and the LG congresses. However, the other faction, which is the Imo APC coalition group, says Okorocha faction is acting on his own, as no court has served them any notice of any injunction stopping the congress, as the congress will still go on as scheduled. If we have the opportunity of showing you copies of that injunction, we will do so in the course of the program. But let's take the conversation forward. We have joining us from our Abuja studio is chieftain of the APC, Mr. Kassim Afegbua. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you hear the kind of stories coming from Imo State, for example, or your state is another example, Kaduna State is another big one where a lot of controversies are generating based on the personalities and the factions that have been created in those states, and a lot of members of the party have been divided along these factions. Even in River State, there's still a lot of doubt on the Congress for tomorrow. What do you think the party might see tomorrow, especially in some of these states where a lot of crises have been generated?
Thank you, Seun. You see, the problem is Nigerian democracy appears to be even at its primitive stage. Primitive in the sense that rather than being participatory, rather than being inclusive, it is more of personality-based, democratic process. People, individuals want to, with some level of influence, they want to exercise their authority without taking into consideration the interests of the mass majority of the members of the party in their locality. And everybody is struggling to have absolute control of the structure of the party so that they can dictate what goes on thereafter, prior to elections and even at elections. Of course, we're entering into an election year in 2019, and so it's expected that all these persons who arrogate and approximate all the powers of the electorates or even party members to themselves, who want to flex muscles, who want to exercise their control and authority, so that in the final analysis they can dictate what happens. But of course, this is not democracy. Democracy is participatory, is all-inclusive, and internal democracy is further strengthened if you allow the people to have a say in what becomes the outcome of congresses or of elections. So what you are seeing playing out in Imo State, in Rivers, in Katsina, in some other states of the Federation, is just to remind us that people have not taken off, or they've not departed from this primitive, very brutish way of arrogating and approximating powers to themselves, thinking that once they have the structure of a political party, they can dictate what happens. It's just a replay of the concept of godfathers in politics. And so I'm wondering that APC should be the last to do this, because the name is All Progressive Congress. This is supposed to be a party of progressives. They are supposed to do things differently from what obtains prior to 2015. But it does appear that even the PDP in their last elections and all of that seem to be teaching us. Look at what happened at Ekiti. Before the Ekiti primaries, the first one was marring violence and crisis. Then thereafter, they now organized another one that was good. But the PDP organized its own primary in Ekiti. It was before the very eyes of all of us. And so for me,
Mr. Afegbua, I think it's a very the big question is that with all of this crisis, do you see, we've seen this play out from 1998, 1999, and the political journey of Nigeria, especially within the major political, the front-running parties, especially the PDP. When a party enters into a national convention in this form and shape, is always a disaster. Don't forget the National Convention of the PDP in 2014. What happened on the day of that convention, where major bigwigs of the party walked out of that national convention? Should the APC go into a national convention in this shape and color, what do you think might come out of it?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that all Progressive Congress, a party that supposedly, comprise, members who are progressive, or chieftains or politicians who are progressive-minded, should naturally do things differently from what obtains before 2015. Of course, we've seen, a replay of this kind of very, undemocratic, behavior, in PDP before now. So a party that is progressively minded should take, inspiration from that and do things differently to the admiration of all. But for some of us who have taken the challenge of speaking to these issues, we have been burdened by the fact that when you speak the truth, you seem to be on the wrong side of history within the party. So, but I need to speak out. We need to speak out. We need to continue to interrogate these issues and the processes that that leads to the outcome of congresses, so that the true representation of the people will emerge at elections, be it party primaries, be it party congresses, be it the re-election. Because if the officers that you are choosing now or they are electing are not a true reflection of the wishes and aspirations of the members of the party, chances are that when election time comes, it will have a ripple effect. And that ripple effect might be by way of protest votes. Some people may decide not to just, support the party or the party's candidate when the election comes.
I mean, one of the sorry, if I may quickly butt in here, one of the
put his house in order.
One of the clear cases that we are seeing is the new PDP and the factions of that bloc in the APC that are coming out, and there are indications. Some of them are giving the party 7 days ultimatum. We know the links of these people, the roots of their formation and all of that. So. If, for example, in the next few days, given the ultimatum, and perhaps going to the National Convention, for example, is the APC in trouble ahead of the 2019 election? Can it stand tall in competition against a PDP, for example? Quickly, please.
Well, that's the beauty of democracy. Why do you think the new PDP and APC are given the party ultimatum? Because they feel that their interest their interest is not being catered for, and they feel that they are not being consulted or carried along, in the scheme of things within the party. So, as a party that is progressively minded, it is the responsibility of the leadership to reach out to every segment of that party, because at formation, different groups came on board. We clap our hands when they pull out in 2014 to join the APC. So we should also give them opportunity to participate and get themselves entrenched within the party, so that in the final analysis, it will be a plus for the party.
We must leave it at that, Mr. Kassim Afegbua. Many thanks for your time on the program. Kassim Afegbua, APC chieftain of former commissioner in Edo State. Thank you so much for your time on the program. And that's our show for today. Many thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm sure I'll keep my way. Bye-bye.